Welcome to our series on Jesuit Historical Tracks. This time around, we are at Chishawasha Mission. We want to find out from Father Mukonori how the Jesuits found themselves at Chishawasha Mission in the late 19th century. So let's get inside and find out from him.
It is interesting how the Jesuits end up in Chishawasha, but it is essential to have a background to it.
Sure.
How the Jesuits end up in Chishawasha. First of all, when the Holy Father decides to ask the Society of Jesus through its Father General, 1870, that it was his wish for the Society of Jesus to open a Zambezi mission.
Okay. Zambezi
mission, we are talking of 1,000 miles. Stretching from Ujiji, that's border of the Tanzania,
okay,
up to the border of South Africa. There are so many Jesuits who perished trying to come or across to establish Zambezi mission.
All right.
Between South Africa and the border with and through Botswana and right up to Zimbabwe, there are many graves of Jesuits
dotted along the line.
Dotted along the line who do not even make it to into southern Rhodesia, which it became later, or northern Rhodesia.
Yes.
And it was a treacherous journey. In Botswana, they had the Bechuanaland at the time.
Yes.
The Jesuits were only allowed a passage, but not to preach, because it was already regarded a British protectorate.
Okay.
And they had to avoid the Drakensberg Mountains. So the Jesuits end up at Gubulawayo, which means Old Bulawayo.
Okay.
Where King Lobengula had his strong settlement. This issue of 1890 of Cecil Rhodes' team coming over to across the Limpopo was in the offing.
Yes.
And the Jesuits got to know about it. They discussed the issue with Cecil Rhodes, and Cecil Rhodes was very happy to do it. The reason he was happy was because he knew the Jesuits were already in the country and had already been in the country.
Yes.
So it was only good to have people who are already accustomed to the country. Otherwise, they wouldn't take Catholics instead of Anglicans. So the Jesuits joined, and they made sure, after the experience of the brothers in Lobengula's Gubulawayo, Old Bulawayo, the superior at the time wrote to Rome and said, please, for every priest you send me, send more brothers. 4 or 5 brothers. They are more useful here, because these people are very much religious. They are monotheistic. They have one God.
Yes.
And what they need is development. So I need more brothers. And so they decided also to take the nuns, because they realized they are going to be more useful.
Right.
1890, within 2 weeks of unspanning the oxen, the Jesuits decided to move around to find where they could settle.
Right.
They came to this place. Father Rickards, who had already been a very professional person, decided to lead the team, and they came to this area. He spent about 10 days with one of the lay persons who was already good in the landscaping and making good judgment and ensuring that we put everything in writing. Father Rickards and one priest and about 4 or 5 brothers were the team which came straight to this part of Chishawasha. They needed to have an area where they could establish It's only when you establish yourself at a place,
Yes.
then you can begin whatever you want to do. In case of this evangelization, you have to evangelize from a given standpoint.
Sure.
And from a point of reference. That is why they came to Chishawasha. The major works of the Jesuits upon coming to Chishawasha, one they to put a cross. And the second thing was to find where finally they had to establish. This Chishawasha place was not the final place at the beginning. It was about the second place or third place. Then they said, okay, we are going to be here for a while. I said, okay, for a while, yes. In the meantime, I mean, you can see, if you can see this is a basin and a very good area, place. It's very attractive. But there were lots of trees at that time. But the brothers being told, you know, just we have to be careful, we are going to move, this is not the final place. Then the brothers decided, said, look, we have to settle because the rainy season is soon coming. We are not going to die of malaria and things like that. What they are talking is just let them talk, we do the action. So the brothers got going and they started building. As soon as they stayed, this 1891.
Right.
1892, it was a settlement. But from 1892, the people were Chishawasha who were around.
Yes.
They realized here the Europeans have come and they had to explain each other why they were here, and they realized they were missionaries to spread the word of God. And the local Chishawasha people started gathering right around the Jesuits, seeking for protection.
Voluntarily.
Voluntarily, they were not coerced to come. They were seeking for protection because remember, people were always they were always in fights and other fights, and sometimes from time to time, occasionally also even people from Bulawayo would come this far. So they expected that, well, with these people around here, I think they must surely we need some protection. And 1893, the school was established.
That's a major work there.
Yes, and Father Bila, who was very well known, who had already been stationed in Bulawayo, in Mpandeni, was called straight away to say, please don't waste time there, because there was hardly any schooling there. Lobengula said to the Jesuits, you want a mission? Yes, Nkosi, we want a mission. Okay, but you see, go and establish your mission to Mpandeni with the two conditions. One, don't convert my people. Two, don't take my children to school, but you can open your mission. And he said, yeah, of course, it's okay. It sounded funny, but it was a way of saying, we do what he says, we follow it, but we have the liberty to go any part of the country and establish ourselves. They said, oh, sure, you have the right to go anywhere. So they established Mpandeni, knowing that they have to establish they have to follow those two conditionalities. Immediately after that, that's when they could just come straight. And here in Mashonaland, in Chishawasha, just 1 year of establishment, the following year, the school was established. Majority were boys.
Okay.
Yes. And the boys were very happy. And it was a makeshift issue. Okay. Where the priests were staying, that's where the kids, they would have to roll their things out and then they start teaching the kids. Of course, with the forthcoming of the first Chimurenga,
yes.
And it's wrong to say Chimurenga is 1896 to 1897. It's not true. It's 1893 to 1897.
Okay.
Between 1893 and 1896, the fights were on and off, the whole way from Bulawayo right into Mashonaland. This was on and off. But 1896 to 1897, it was the thickest battle, because the Shona and the Develes had decided a strategy, which they decided. The Shona said, the Ndebele people, you engage the enemy real hard because during the rainy season.
Right.
And in the meantime, the Shona side would be preparing to have the necessary crops. Okay. And that they would feed the Ndebele people with the food. But immediately, just halfway, about June 1896, yes, the Shona area, the rebellion upsurged, went up into smoke. The fight was very fierce. It is about over 1,000 whites were killed during Chimurenga 1. That's how tough it was. And in this area, Chishawasha, the fighting also took place. This was an area of Sekuruka Gubi, okay, and then Buyanehanda.
Right here.
Right here. Buyanehanda was, of course, stationed in Mazowe. She used to visit this area, this place, right here, to negotiate and to dialogue with her brother, Sekuruka Gubi.
Oh, they were brother and sister?
They are brothers and sisters, yes. Or call them cousins. Yes. But and Kaguvi was the commander of the army, right the whole way through. So, by that time, 1896, the establishment of cattle, goats, sheep, and some granaries and so on, it had already taken place. They were forced, 1897, to move out, to go to Salisbury Lager for protection. They were instructed, and the Maxim gun arrived at the Chishawasha mission, and to say, you are not staying behind, you come with us. And they had to leave. And when they left, the people were fairly responsible. When they came back after the end of the war, they still found their house was really never touched. Everything was there intact. But it is only from post Chimurenga 1 when the Jesuits sat down and say, let us evaluate and ask ourselves, where have we gone wrong? What have we done right? Yes. What have we not done right? Yes. So after a few days, it seems about between 1 week or 10 days of taking seriously the stock taking, what they had done, they decided, they said, no, what we can do is let us go into full throttle with education and development. Okay. So that we train and teach and educate the young people, the children. The elderly people have their own ways of doing things. So pastorally, we should not waste much time in seeking pastoral work and baptizing people.
Right.
But those who are willing to be baptized, fine. But we have to spend all our time and our energy in education and development. Development that includes education and health. Yes. And teaching these people skills, practical skills. Knitting for the girls, sewing for the girls, boys, agriculture, animal husbandry, bricklaying. And which survived right up to 1970. I have 3 years of building, I have 3 years of carpentry, and from here, and 3 years of good gardening. I was not lazy. Fortunately, I come from a farm, and I'm a farmer in my own right. Okay. But here, we produce everything we need in terms of food, except maize. Maize was done on the farming side of Chishawasha, but when it comes to anything to do with the gardening, yes, we produce that ourselves through and through. Well, Chishawasha, which was established in 1890, It has changed so many times, and it is my resolution to make Chishawasha and give Chishawasha a new face,
Yes.
which will last another 50 years.
Okay.
That is why we are building new constructions which have a 50-year plan looking well, and by 50 years from now, the buildings will look as good as possible. And everything in the mission, we want that to be modernized.
Okay.
We want to beat every school we have in Zimbabwe. We want everyone to come to Chishawasha and see what is possible. Of course, this is a mission which was run as an African rural mission school. So, very minimum in terms of finances, and it has always been, but from what we have done until today, most of the money we have established the new construction in Zimbabwe today, in Chishawasha today, it's all from Zimbabwe, not from outside the country. For the young Jesuits, we have only one Society of Jesus, and we are the members of the Society of Jesus, and let's get going. Stomach in, chest out, even if you've got a big stomach, but put it in, stick your chest out, and get going, because we have a different type of evangelization in the next 50 years.
Yes. So, that's the story of Chishawasha Mission, which we have just heard from Father Mukonori. I hope it has been informative for you. God bless you. See you next time.